is mosaics.
Yes, you
Mosaics.
said that. Lovely, lovely. Yes,
Yeah.
I also wanted to tell you that one day we'll do, we were going to do envelopes anyway in calligraphy, sending
Yes.
our work. But I thought
Yes.
envelope decoration would also be nice one day.
Yeah. Of course. Those are like super fun.
Yeah, so I thought maybe that will also be nice. Put this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that.
I can't hear you, Susan. You're saying something.
My audio disappears. Network is looking spotty. Okay.
A little louder, Susan. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Is this better? I think this should be fine. Okay. So today we will start with mosaics, which is a very it's a fun topic because uh, typically we have understood mosaics to be something you do with tile and glass, right? We've seen that very often architecturally in so many locations we go to visit your European areas particularly. So mosaic is a way of using broken shards of glass and tile and arranging them in color so that you have a very like a very cohesive picture or an image that you're trying to get out of it. So the whole point is broken pieces of colors sorted in the right way can still form an image that you can identify, right? So that concept can be extended to craft. Now, very often you may have seen for children's crafts, what they do is they ask children to tear small pieces of colored paper and paste them around such that they are able to form something like a sun and a moon and whatever shapes they want, right? So the mosaic concept is the same here too, where we are tearing paper of different colors and we are applying it, we are putting it down on paper, we're sticking it down, and the shape really does not matter because it's after putting all the pieces that the whole starts to form to us. I mean, who gets to form clearly as a picture into our eyes. So that's where mosaic has moved into craft, into another medium, not tile and stone, but craft paper. And from there, you can take it even further into all sorts of art media, meaning we can do this in paint, you can do this in crayons, you can do it in any medium, to be very honest. But watercolor stands out as a lovely medium because it imitates the transparencies we have seen in glass and tile. Okay, so tile and glass have a very lovely quality. If you see mosaics, I don't have reference photos right now, but we all have seen mosaics. And you will notice that tile and glass have this uncanny ability to be more than one shade. So if I'm using blue, I may have blue and a little darker blue, and then maybe a little lighter blue. They may all be in the same hue, but they could be different shades of that same hue. So darker shade, lighter shade, all those kind of things. And it is that quality about these tile mosaics and glass mosaics that we really enjoy, which we can get almost perfectly capture in watercolor. Because watercolor is being water-based, it is transparent. That's one thing. The other thing is that with every stroke, you could get a different level of transparency. So one time I put down watercolor in one shape, it may be of a certain, I mean, it may have a certain transparency, but when I take the same color and put it in another shape, it may be slightly darker or slightly lighter, depending on pigment water ratio. Now, when we are making this, when we are painting mosaics using watercolor, we don't have to worry about this at all. We don't, and usually when we are using watercolor, we also want to make sure that our consistency is the same. We want to take that consistency through one entire picture, right? So we are always worried about the water to pigment ratio. We are always worried about it and we make enough pigment, enough water ready, etc., etc. That is not so much required for mosaics. It is more dip, and whatever color you get or whatever mix you get of pigment and water, that will work. Okay, so the other thing is that for mosaics you have to have some shapes. Okay, one of the popular questions is, what shape do we use for the tile? When we're making breaking tiles, there is no fixed shape. You will notice that the people who, if you go for a mosaic class, you will notice they are simply using a plier sort of thing and holding on to glass and tile and snapping it off. And with every snap, you may get different shapes. You will get different shapes, but they would be geometric shapes usually, because the snapping off happens in lines. So you will get hexagonal patterns, triangular patterns, all sorts of geometric shapes. Okay, and then we place them around cohesively, such that we also do not place them in such a way that they are stuck to each other. We always space them a bit, right? So a mosaic piece will have structures like this. I'm just showing it to you in a as a drawing. Okay, so you may have pieces like this sitting next to each other, right? Of varying sizes, with sometimes it's very big, sometimes it's very small, this kind of a structure. Okay, so this is a geometric mosaic where we are using broken pieces that still have angles, a lot of angles. In watercolor, you can also change the shapes that make up a mosaic into other shapes. So non-geometric shapes, like absolutely unrecognizable amoeboid shapes can work. You can do something like this. Okay, so in watercolor, this will also work. This will also give you a nice mosaic effect if you want to try it out. But today what we are going to do is we are going to stick to the geometric patterns, because it's easier to do. Most of us are comfortable making outlines and then painting in. So I'm going to today show you only mosaics made from geometric patterns, like these kind of shapes that have nice clear edges. Okay. The next thing is, for mosaic painting, we are going to be using fine brushes. So you can go and look for a size 2, size 0. These are the sizes we will be using, because our shapes are not going to be very big. We are filling up a space and they're not going to be very big. Does not mean that a mosaic cannot be made with big shapes. It can be, provided your picture is a big picture. So if your picture becomes big, you can fill it with shapes that are rather big. But if your picture is small, the shapes will start to become small, because you want to fit more shapes. Okay. And the other thing is, shapes can give you a sense of direction. Now, let me explain this for you. Okay. Direction meaning, if I arrange now this way, okay, I'm arranging square shapes. Can you see that it is all going in one direction? The moment I start doing something like this, you can feel the line moving in another direction, right? So alignment of pieces, you can use the approach where you use pieces that are more or less the same shape, more or less, not exact, and give, by placing them next to each other in such a way that you start giving some amount of directionality. And in big large works where you use this, it shows motion, very similar to let's say Picasso, not Picasso, who's our um, who's a Starry Night fellow? Van Gogh. Van Gogh, correct, Van Gogh. So it can look like Van Gogh's work, where you see motion in the sky, right? You've seen this kind of a motion, right? You see this twirl and curves and things like that. Now you can do this with mosaics, because you can align all your shapes in that particular direction, giving you a feel of some movement. Okay, so in very big works of mosaic, this is possible, provided you're thinking it through. You've drawn your shapes, your outlines well, and then you align all your shapes neatly within that outline. Okay, done. Now, before we start any shapes, let us first practice the fine work that we need to do with our brushes. We'll just make squares in color. In any paint, any shade of watercolor we like. So I'm going to pick something that's not used often. Which color is not used often? I don't know. This is cobalt blue. I'll just use cobalt blue because I don't use it too often. Okay. I'm going to wet cobalt blue. Put it on my palette somewhere, maybe here. Keep it a little bit runny. Okay. Keep it a little bit runny. Get enough pigment there. Okay. And I would like to start making some shapes. These shapes can be, oh, I'm going to spotlight. Sorry, I haven't spotlight myself. Hold on. Just remind me, next time I get so carried away, I don't spotlight all these shapes I drew. I should have spotlighted. Okay, doesn't matter. You haven't missed much. So
it was on spotlight.
Oh,
I've been
was it?
watching
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm going to make squares, just squares, okay? Simple squares. Make them a bit large because we are doing this for the first time and we don't want to get bogged down by too much of difficulty with a small brush, fine brush. Let's not do too much of fine work starting off. So square followed by another square next to it. Now place the next square as close as you can without the paint touching the earlier square. See? Okay. As I paint the next square, what's going to happen is the paint is going to subside in my brush. Okay, it's going to get lighter. And I'm getting the same hue, but different shades. Right? Now, if I go to the next line, I will put, let's say, in between this color, suppose I want to put in another shade of another color. Okay, let me show you this. It's going to blend. Actually, this is still, I told you, watercolor paper makes a difference for all this there. It's going to blend. You can drop in another color. So I'm dropping in a little bit of green. Okay. It's a very cohesive color. So inside this green, when I'm filling it up, I'm going to drop in a little blue. See what I'm doing? Now I'm going to pick up some blue, draw a square, make another blue. Now into this blue, I want to add a very dark shade pigment. Okay. And that's fine. Let it sit over there. Very funny. As if it's just mixing up there in one corner, not even blending properly. That's fine. To this, I'm going to make some green. So wet on wet. A lot of wet on wet can be done in mosaic to give dual tone. See? Now, as you place these squares, are you starting to see how it is okay for it to be different shades, cohesive shades, mixing one with the other, sometimes a light hue next to a dark hue, right? It starts to look quite pleasing to the eye. When you're mixing colors, you may want to consider a color that does not create a muddy mix. So having a basic understanding of color theory, you should probably not mix colors that give you a brown, because then it just muddies the entire effect you're trying to get. So if it's a blue can go well with green, a green can go well with yellow, yellows and oranges, oranges and reds, those kind of things. Colors that are next to each other on a color wheel. Yeah. So there are many ways. You can have one single color going through. You can have two colors that are cohesive, mixing randomly. Whatever way you want, you can take it forward, okay? But at the end of the day, the gap between the shapes must be as minimal as possible. Now, I've still showed it to you very big because we are making big boxes. But let's make it, now let's do another color. Maybe we'll take yellow and orange. Okay, activate your yellow, gamboge. Activate gamboge and activate orange, both. Because what will happen then, we can dip into one and the other. And this time, let's give ourselves a pencil line. Okay, I'm going to give myself a line like this, a curve like this. Yeah.
Susan, I
Give
had a
yourself,
question.
yes,
Uh,
tell me.
what are the different uses you can tell us how we can use these mosaics? Like cards, I know, but other than that,
Yes.
where we can apply?
You can make you can make it into a frame. Like suppose now I don't know if you've seen Alka's book. If you've seen Alka's book, she's used mosaic to depict one entire food item. I think dal vada or something in her book. She was so enamored by mosaic at that time that she made the whole thing, the lining of the entire I think tablecloth or something like that. The whole pattern she made in mosaic. So you can choose where you want to use it. It may not have like applicability very similar to watercolor where you can use it maybe, I don't know. In general, I have used mosaics for cards only. I have also used it
Maybe place names,
yeah, names, alphabets. Ah, yeah, I have made alphabets.
signposts. Yeah.
I have made alphabets with mosaic for children, like for a child's name. If you write it out in block letters, I have done the negative painting in mosaic. That means I leave the alphabets and I do only the background in mosaic. And then the alphabets stand out so beautifully because they're all white, right? And the mosaic has filled. And in the background, I did like a varied color, rainbow colors. And it looks quite pretty. I don't have that one example with, but those are the kind of uses, Janita. Nothing very, I mean, you'll have to like think it up a bit where you want to use. So let me just show you before we proceed. I can show you how they look. I think most of you have seen my cards, my Christmas cards. So my Christmas cards are like this, you know. I did an entire series of Christmas cards that were mosaic. See, this way. You can see, you can understand what the shape is once the pieces start coming together. I think this one had, then once I had a mosaic live also. So there I had done this alphabet R. See? Now it's all flowers, by the way, but it's not very clear. So I had to learn from this experience that choosing colors that are uh, widely different from each other, light against a dark, dark against a light, are important factors to uh, consider. See, this is S.
But that certainly looks like flowers, huh? You can make out the petal
Yeah, you
shapes,
can make out
even
its
though.
flowers, but now these two examples, I actually did this on the live. So these two examples were great. In fact, here what I learned was the flowers could have been probably a little lighter. We could have gone with a lighter color than red, or I should have chosen the blue for the R and then some lighter color for the flowers, something like that. You know, like made this red darker or something like that. That is one lesson. Then over here, what I learned was now my red also became pinkish light, and this also was blue, and the two colors were kind of mixing. I could not see it as distinctly as I see these two. See? So then I realized that sometimes maybe when you're doing an entire shape in mosaic, the the background needs to not be mosaic. It should probably be solid color. See, you have to learn from experience what works. So sometimes a mosaic looks excellent in contrast with solid color, right? So you may have to do it a few times to figure out what works. I'll show you one that was the prettiest that I made. Look at this. I really loved this.
Very beautiful. The colors
Mhm.
also.
So that was, so it is, the thing is like, it was just, I was looking at live references, like looking at a piece
Really,
of
this looks
hair.
like glass. My goodness,
Yeah,
so
exactly,
beautiful.
no? Yeah. So it's actually very simple. It's just a what do you call it? It's a patient a game of patience. You just sit at it and keep at it. And so many people will tell you that mosaic painting is therapeutic, very therapeutic. You want to sit and do something which where your mind falls into a rhythm. This is it. You want to just go into, don't have to overthink it, and yet your mind wants to do something steady, right? So these are all examples of mosaic. And like I said, Janita, these things have application. Like I would take something like this and even make this a kitchen frame in the kitchen. You know, like I would easily, it would easily go into the kitchen. Bathrooms, these are places where tiles are there.
Yeah, this you could make a sticker.
Yeah, you could make a sticker out of it. Yeah, lots of
Have a
application actually.
series of
The
these
tile thing
shoots
is
on
a
the
good
tile.
concept.
Yeah. So if you get this printed on a tile, there you go. You got a tile with mosaic on it. You can do lots of stuff. Actually, it's great fun. Huh? It's great fun. Once you start exploring, it's great fun. So, all right, coming back to our sheet here. Now I'm giving you a line, a curve here, so that we can place our shapes above it and below it. Okay. And this is how we are going to tackle mosaics eventually. Eventually, you have to give yourself some outline, because a blank page does not help you shape your object correctly. Okay. So you have to give yourself an outline. But the good thing is we are going to place our mosaic pieces on the periphery of that outline, like just off that outline on both sides, which means this pencil mark that you see after the whole painting has dried will get erased. Watercolor does not go over the outlines. Got it? Okay. So let's start with yellow and orange, which we activated. I'm going with a thinner brush now. And yellow and orange. Gamboge and orange. Okay. I'm again going with only squares. It takes some amount of fine motor skill for this. Huh? So what I would recommend is, if you are starting a big project, meaning a project where you might want to do a big picture, a large picture, entirely mosaic, first start with a little bit of an practice. Just make some shapes. Let your hand get into the groove of being precise about the geometric pattern you're choosing to make. See? Can you see I'm sitting on top of the line, just on top of the line. And these are not perfect squares, by the way. I want to show you the line and where I don't know if it is focusing. Is it focusing?
Gone out of focus.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out how to get the focus back. So it needs to be far away. But can you see my line is untouched? The shape is sitting just above the line, right? And you will also notice that I brought my shapes this time as they grew smaller. I brought my shapes as close as possible to each other, right? So let me go on to the whole. I'm going to continue with orange, change back to yellow. Don't be in a hurry. Do it slowly. Relax. This is an excellent exercise to just put a podcast or your favorite Spotify channel and sit there for hours. At the end of it, you look back and say, wow. So even my square shapes are not exact square shapes. See, can you see how they are changing, they're becoming slightly off the square pattern. Now I'm doing this under because of the curve, the square can't remain square all the time.
Do we mix the two colors also for some?
Yes, you
Yeah.
can, of course. And that works actually much better if you take the lighter color. So for example, here's my yellow. Okay. And I put down the yellow and then I just quickly touch. Now I'm touching red. So you can see I'm touching a little bit of red, and you can leave this. That is also perfectly acceptable. If you feel like helping it blend, you can help it blend, or just leave it. If you do this on watercolor paper, no, it will do its own blending. Very nice.
Susan, as I'm
You
going
don't need to help.
along,
Yeah.
My squares are a little different from the top ones. You know what I mean? Little
They're becoming
away,
smaller?
maybe. Sometimes because the curve is coming down, sometimes my squares
Yes.
are a little bigger, but
Yes.
mainly under. But I won't say they're exactly under each
And
one.
that is
Is
fine,
that
Elaine.
okay?
That is
Okay.
absolutely fine.
Okay.
Absolutely fine. Okay.
Okay.
So from time to time, you could consider just sitting, like, sit back and look at it. What has
Yeah.
changed? Okay.
Yeah.
If you feel your squares, and this happens for me, my personal observation is that when I start making certain shapes, I start off with a certain size in my head, like a rough, okay, roughly this size.
Yeah.
But when I progress, maybe
Yeah.
about 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in, my shapes start to get a little small. It's my personal observation. So what I do is I regularly, maybe after 2, 3 lines of something, I stop, look at it, and just assess, is my last shape looking smaller? Then let's again go back to making it a little bigger. So just occasionally stop and look, because it is very, very natural for us to start to become smaller and smaller, because you want to fit things around, right? So you will have to make a little effort to step back and just see. Now I'm making an adjustment. I've made this square a little big, so it's okay. Little big, little small next to each other, absolutely fine. See, now my square is not looking like a square, it's looking like a quadrilateral. So it's fine. It's perfectly fine, because the curve has come in and I want to fit around the curve nicely. So it is not the shape that matters as much as the way it fits. Okay. Now that I finished the top and the bottom, I'm going to do one more thing before we move on to making some image. I'm going to show you how I'm going to add one more layer under this, but it is going to get a little darker. This is where shading comes. Okay. Now, all images don't have to be flat colors. You will notice the picture I showed you, this fruit. The reason the fruit looks better than the, let's say, I'm going to show you fruit and I'm going to show you my S. Okay. Both mosaics. But the reason this pops, two reasons actually, is that I brought shading here. So there is a little bit, I have made effort to make sure that I leave small patches where, had I painted this in fully in watercolor, plain without mosaic, I would have put my own share of shading, right? I would have put a light patch. I have maintained that in my mosaic. You get it? So that is why this is looking very, very, really, really nice. The shading is making a world of a difference. Whereas here, there's really not much shading. I've kept it more or less yellow, red, green, you know. So that also has a very, very big impact on how the mosaic will look. If you have any shading in mind, go ahead and make sure that you keep that in mind and apply it in your this thing. So for example, here's the banana. I've darkened the banana at the base and lighten the banana in the top. Keep these things in mind when you're painting. Okay. So now I'm going to show that shading over here, because in the next line, I'm not going to use gamboge at all. I'm now using only orange and scarlet. Okay. Now, also in this line, I will start to break away from putting all my shapes one below the other. You will notice that my shapes are now moving like bricks a little bit away. See? But sharp shapes are very, very good. Keep that in mind. So try not to make your shapes start getting the sharp edges I'm talking about. Whatever shape you make, whether it is this square or it is that diamond shape, whatever shape it is, see if you can make sure that it is sharp enough. The corners are sharp enough. See? Now we are starting to see shade coming in. In the next row, I'm going one step further and making it now scarlet and a little bit of crimson. And straight away, mosaic is changing shades. Here we are changing shades. What I did in the fruit example was not changing shades. It was just changing the, sorry, not changing the hue, changing the shade. Sorry, here we are changing hues. There, it was not a different color that I was introducing. It was just the same color in a lighter shade. Get what I'm saying, no?
Which
So
is
here
the last
I'm
color? Last row?
crimson. The
Crimson.
last row
Oh,
I'm using scarlet and crimson, mix of
okay.
scarlet and crimson.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
just to drop in some crimson wherever you would like. Now, in between, I may feel that it is getting too dark. I may use a little bit of orange to lighten my crimson, but only just. Now here, this last piece, I'm not even bothering to make it square. It is not square. It is some quadrilateral only. But can you see how it's looking? Shade coming through. Yeah. Now this is still quite simple. We have not made boundaries for the pieces to fall in. Also, by the way, did you notice this shape and this shape? Look at my last row and my first row. First row is slightly bigger than my last row. So like I said, naturally, it happens so naturally. You shouldn't get worried. Now we are going to go to another shape. And this time we are going to create a shape where we are going to give it boundaries. That means we are now going to fit our shapes inside of the lines that we draw. Okay, so let's start with a star. I've seen this so many times and I have been meaning to try a star. Erase this line.
You tried this with masking fluid?
No, never tried it with masking fluid. Because the thing is that the masking fluid will have to be drawn in the shape of a, quadrilateral, whatever, each shape. Imagine doing that effort with masking fluid. It is so tedious. Masking fluid is in general quite tedious. It is a material that dries very fast when exposed to air. Okay. So what happens is the more you use masking fluid, especially for fine details, your masking fluid is starting to get sticky and it is going to start sticking onto your brush, onto whatever surface, and then it's just a mess. So to be very honest, it is not worth the effort because it is so easy for us to make shapes with a fine brush and leave the gaps that it is not worth the effort to put masking fluid. Also, the other thing what will happen with masking fluid is we'll end up putting lines like check lines and vertical lines and horizontal lines. And then what will happen? It will become very consistent. Here you have inconsistency. And inconsistency has a quality of handwork, right? So I would not recommend masking fluid because of that. It's just tedious. But I won't say it's not possible. It can be done. I'm drawing now a star. And like old time star, like I'm talking about Star of David, but bachche ka, the first stars we learn to draw, that type. While we are talking about mosaics, there aren't many artists who do mosaics. Watercolor artists that do mosaics. But one that does, there are a few, very few actually. But one that you must check out is Anna Victoria Calderon, I think her name is surname. I'll just check it out. She's on Instagram. She does a lot of lovely, lovely mosaics. I'll write her name here. I think her name is, check out her work because she has done extensive mosaics. She also has classes on Skillshare, on Domestika, things like that. Her name is Anna Victoria. I think, let's check it. Hold on. I don't write a wrong name. Anna Victoria Calderon. Yeah. I think she's Spanish or Mexican. I'm not sure. Does awesome work. Awesome. And her spreads are just so pretty. Very nice for inspiration. You know, you want to start something, you're not sure what theme to take now, what to work on. Definitely watch her work. For the mess I've made. Okay. Since the mess has come in, this is a good time to talk about what happens when two shapes merge. Or suppose while you're painting, your brush came so close that a shape merged with the other. Don't do anything. Merge it and make it a rectangle. That's all you do. Okay. So don't let that worry you too much. Okay. And this is something that Anna also talks about. She says, like, I'm trying to make something very close to a triangle, another triangle, and the two just blended and became a diamond. Okay, let it blend and become a diamond. So what? That's your new shape. Okay. So far, since we have done only one shape, we may feel like, oh, it's going to look horrible here because they are all squares. But in the end, mosaics are not going to be all squares. We are going to do different shapes. So what does it matter if you intended to put two triangles or the two triangles joined and became a diamond? It doesn't matter because you've got all sorts of shapes there. Okay. The other solution is make it a rectangle. Now, suppose these two blended together and you made it a rectangle. Make it a rectangle, leave it to dry. And when you are done, when it's fully dry, at the end of your work, take a white line and draw it in between. Take your white marker and draw a white line, thin white line between the two, separating it. It is very, very difficult for the eye to see that white because the rest of the spaces are also paper white, right? So if you want to correct this, just take your pen, run your white line here, it will separate, right? So that's one way to fix it. Okay, let's go to this star that we've drawn, and let's take two shades. I'm going to consider, since I have blue already. What blue was this? Cobalt? Not cobalt. Cobalt blue. Yeah, cobalt blue. I've got cobalt blue. I'm also going to keep a little bit of crimson ready on the side because I'm going to mix cobalt blue and crimson. So we may get shades of purple. Okay. Now this is my outline. What I did is I drew the star very basically. What I'm trying to see is, can I make this a star without these boundaries? Just the star. You see what I mean? No? I don't want these lines. I want to go over these lines. So I'm erasing this. I don't want the watercolor to come on top of it. Yeah. My star is looking like this. Yeah. And I'm going to go in with blue first. And I'm going to make a diamond shape.
So how do you plan before you start off? What kind of shapes would kind of fit into this, star?
You can draw.
No pencil work? No.
You can do pencil work. Now, I have done a lot of this already, so I know
Okay.
that I want to start with a diamond. But if
Okay.
you feel like you want to check a shape out, do it in pencil first. Draw it in pencil first and see whether you want to do it all squares, all diamonds, all triangles. Sometimes you may want to do this in triangles. Yeah. So you
because
can
this
choose.
is
You can.
little
Yeah.
complicated if I started off and then I couldn't meet up in the middle, if it was
Yeah.
smaller squares or triangles and you felt there was some funny thing in the middle, a space which wasn't connecting,
Yes.
and
Yes.
it's a little bit of a
Yeah. So
okay.
you'll have to think through. And our next picture will be a picture about, we can choose. I was thinking of doing a cactus. Okay. And a cactus is going to have all sorts of funny shapes on it. So let's try and see how we can consider that problem. I'm not going to think of the shapes. I'm going to just start putting shapes and see what will happen. What will happen if I did not plan it? Okay.
Right.
In this case, I'm just doing shapes other than square. I just want to show you all what it will look like.
Right. And can we do the cactus with some kind of a highlight so that that shading
Yes, absolutely.
Like the apple, or even
Yes,
an
yes,
apple or a
yes.
pear or something would be lovely.
Correct.
Okay,
We can.
let's
We
do
can.
this.
Okay, now here I dipped back in and I got darker pigment, which is fine. I'm going to leave it dark. It doesn't matter. I didn't dip into the crimson yet. I haven't dipped into it yet because I want to use it on the outside part of this star. So there you go. I've got a shape here. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take a pencil and draw an outline to the star. A thick, roughly this width. Okay, I'm just going out on the outside. Draw it in pencil. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's just a guide for you to make sure that you stay within that framework. Can you see the outline I've made? The pencil outline, yeah?
Yeah.
I've just gone in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this crimson that I kept ready.
Yeah, Susan, can we just, sorry, finish?
Sure. Finish.
Bit and then,
Yeah.
otherwise I'll
take
just
your time.
listen to you and then do it
Yeah.
later. That's also okay.
Yeah. So let me know when you're done with the star, the basic star.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this artist on Insta? Because I'm not
Yes.
able to.
She is.
She is. Okay.
She is.
Let me
You can
find.
just check for Anna Victoria or something like that. Her Insta handle. She's only ANA, yeah? Not ANN.
Okay, I'm just going to draw the pencil mark outside.
Yeah.
I think Janita's finished. I don't know about Nita.
I can see one person, Anna Victoria, but it is private.
Yeah. Oh,
Is
it's
it?
no. Hold on.
Not that one.
Hold on. Let me just.
Oh no, she's there. Janita, she's there. I can see her.
What is the image like on the
See,
thing?
it's the face. Her face is. This is her picture. Anna.
Oh, okay.
So she says
Okay.
Anna Victoria Na.
Because
there
the
is a Na at
name,
the end.
the full name
Victoria.
is something else.
This one.
She has done other stuff also. Very interesting.
Oh yeah, she's done lots of other stuff. She's a very very expressive artist. Very expressive. I love her work.
Okay. You all have finished
Everyone
your
okay?
stars, dears? Yes.
All done?
Yes.
Okay.
All done.
So
I
now
got
we
it.
will continue to
Thanks.
keep a little bit of the blue ready, because although we're not going to use blue so much, we'll be using pink only, I mean crimson only. We'll probably drop in a little blue in between. At some shapes we could put in a little bit of blue. So here I am putting a shape. Now what am I going to do? Best is to start at a point where it is flat. So here, let me put the shape of a rectangular shape, let's say. Okay. I start with a place where I know I don't have to think too much. Now, the next shape, I'm reaching a point at this point where I'm not going to get anything worthwhile. So what I'm going to do is I will bound the two sides that I have. Then I can decide, come down here and all the way down here and make this a quadrilateral. This is possible.
Mm.
Okay. Now what will happen with that is the next shape will have to be now bound this side now, this side
Yeah.
and this side. And then you have many options. You can either take it long and make it a quadrilateral like this, or you can make it a rhombus like this. Right?
Mm.
Now my next shape. What do I do with my next shape? I will, let's see. Maybe I could introduce a triangle. So I'm thinking as I go. Now look at the space I have. Over here, it could be again another triangle, but maybe an obtuse, like a wide triangle like this. See, I could do this. So my shape is changing now at every stage. I reach this corner and I realize, oh, now when I look at this corner, this triangle may not have been a great idea. It's a rather odd shape. So let me correct it. I'm going to correct this and make it like this so that my next shape, now I have the limitations here are, I have this side and this side fixed. I don't have any, I can't do anything about it. Even this. Now, what do I want to do? Do I want to make it a large shape? I can make it shape. Bring it all the way down here and do this. So it is basically, it is just, you are figuring it out as you go. Be free about that. Be
Okay.
very, very free about what you are trying to do. See, and it is forming, something is forming, right? Now again, I've gone back to a rhombus. See? Here I want a triangle. So now I'm actively changing it. Now I did not introduce my blue yet, so I could introduce my blue at a few places. Let me see if I can. But it needs to be wet for it to merge. See? Now it's all looking dark to you, I know, but in light, it will look a lot prettier. On my paper, it's looking, holding it against the light. It develops that shade of blue, and see the blue hue is coming in, a little bit of purple. Very magical. Just make sure that in between you are not consistently, all your shapes are not showing the same intensity of color. Okay, then that mosaic effect is, the charm is lost. So if you need to introduce watery shades, bring the watery shades in regularly. So here I have a nice, I've watered down my color. You can pick up color if you feel that is also allowed. Now okay, here I'm going to pick up some color because all of this is so dark. I'll pick up color here. I'll make this light. So Just dropping in the blue with the pink is giving me that purple shade that comes from merging two colors. You could also choose, Elaine, to keep all of them square and only at these corners where it turns, no, only they have an odd shape. That is also an option. Okay.
That's an
So
option,
now,
but it's not as pretty as the, the unexpected. I mean, the
yeah,
in unplanned of mosaic is because
yes,
it's bits broken. So
yes,
you can never break just square,
correct,
which looks very.
correct,
Of
correct.
course, you get those little tiles which
Yes,
you can
yes,
stick together. Tiny.
yes, yes, yes.
But what I liked about your first, when you started off the corner and
Hmm.
then went off into that triangle, and I said, oh dear, that's not going to fit. But after you finished a whole line, I like
Yeah.
the idea of it being all different shapes inside.
All different, no? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I think Anna Victoria herself has done entire mosaics in circles. I think I've
Wow.
seen it somewhere, but I could not find it on her Instagram thing. So maybe on Pinterest, I have to just check. I remember distinctly seeing it.
Wow.
I was most amazed. Yeah. So it's not limited to just shapes that have sides.
I don't know what happened to my star in the beginning. That's why it took so long to draw it, because I've got a completely different star. God knows what I do. I'll show it to you
Okay.
once I finish.
That's okay.
Then
Unless you had a 5-point star. Did you make a 5-point? Because ours is
it
6.
started off with some. Now it's not a star, it's some kind of a.
That's okay. And that's also
That's why
perfectly
it
fine.
took so much longer. I was struggling away.
That's all right. That's all right. Not to worry. I do a few and then I stop and remember that I have to put the pink in, sorry, blue in at certain places. So
Yeah, and as you
I-
said, you tend to get smaller, and
yeah,
one just has to keep saying no, big one. Make
reminding
a big
yourself.
square.
Yes, yes, correct. So don't sit at it like doggedly and say I'm not going to stop. No, no, no. It's supposed to be very relaxing. And mind you, I have spent my
No,
goodness
no, this
hours.
I'm not going to stop is very natural for me. I'll just carry on.
No,
It's
just
like
tilt your head.
knitting
You
or
don't have to stop.
crochet.
You
Yeah.
don't have to stop like a big stop. It's not a big stop, Elaine. Just
Yeah.
stop enough to tilt your head and look at it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's it. I find I do that very often, by the way.
Yeah.
Tilting my head while I'm painting. I'll
Yeah.
stop, tilt my head like one of those chicken, no? You see those chicken, they look at you,
Yeah.
look at you so funny. Like, who are you? That kind of a tilt of my head. And then I realize, okay, yeah, something is wonky, something is right, something is not right. That's all you need.
I've been drawing a lot of chickens lately.
Have you? For gifting purposes or just
Cartoon chickens,
practice?
because they do all kinds of things. You can make them as expressive because it's got
Oh,
just
yes.
a little triangular body, and the
Correct.
eyes are so expressive, and the feet and the wings, so you can do a heap with them.
Yes, yes. Chicken are great fun. I did not even think of chicken until I think Mother's Day. One Mother's Day, I thought, oh, let's do hen. It's so fun, so much of fun.
And so expressive, They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
this way of looking.
Have you seen the Russian one? What they do with the brush strokes of the
No,
cock? You should
no.
see
What
it.
do they
You
do?
should check it out. Russian,
Oh,
and corks. They just do brush strokes. It's more like that Calcutta based, how they use the long brush, right? Just with a stroke, that sort
The
Single
of thing.
stroke, no?
The
Yeah,
Yeah.
single
Chinese
stroke.
world.
It's like Alpana. Alpana, they
Mhm.
have that sort of with paint.
With paint, no? Yeah, I think now that you say, no, I think I may have observed these guys. They Chinese also have this single
Yeah,
stroke.
Chinese have
They
this.
do,
That's I
and
think
with
where
their funny
Calcutta.
brushes, oh, mind you, with that bamboo-like brush,
Yeah.
not even your regular. If you do this at night, no, you might sometimes only realize it is morning till when the
Yeah.
milkman comes.
do
It's happened to
you,
me. That's what I'm saying.
do you still have a milkman in Kerala?
No, I'm here in Bombay now. I'm back
Oh,
Bombay. Yeah.
but do you
So back
have
in
one in
Bombay,
Kerala?
yes. No, yes. In Kerala, they bring fresh milk from the farm. My
Yeah.
parents have fresh milk and all that. So at
Yeah.
5 o'clock, the van comes to the gate. So yeah, it's fresh.
How
Means like
lovely.
straight from the farm. Yeah.
Still living in that lovely age of
Yeah. But that can only be happen in towns,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't do that in cities. Although in Bombay, you can see a cow or two quite regularly.
Cow is okay, but the ones that give milk, no.
No, that give milk. You won't
No,
believe.
I mean, which are not
Cows
giving
that give
milk
milk.
then, because those are the ones tied up inside the dairies to give
No,
milk,
you
and
will
then
not
they
believe.
let the others wander about with their calves. Poor things.
No, there is in fact next to my Vadala itself, very close, east and west connection. There is one guy who's parked himself in an abandoned area under the bridge. So like sometimes
Yeah,
under the
yeah,
bridge
yeah.
areas get abandoned, nobody comes there.
Yeah,
So he's parked his 8 or 10 cows over there,
yeah.
and he milks them every morning. So around 7, if you drive by, you will see them see him milking all his cows. And I wonder, where do these cows go and wander to eat? Forget fodder. Where do
No, he
they
must
go?
be giving them to eat. Otherwise, they
Yeah.
won't.
But where do they wander? See, we are so used
Yeah.
to seeing cows in fields. So what do? Just stand there tied all day?
No, they wait around in the middle of crossings and sit.
That is true. Probably. So he probably takes them for a circuit walk.
Yeah, and then after that, they just sit around on the middle of the road because that's the driest place and
Yeah.
block traffic and make a traffic island. And everybody goes around them very patiently,
That's true.
which
The
is
Indians
nice. Yeah.
have to give them.
We have space for everybody. So
That's true. Very accommodating.
very.
So we have about half an hour. Take your time to finish this part of the thing.
Yep, I'm done.
We can, you can go one more layer up around this and probably go back in a blue or some other cohesive shade, whatever you like. You can expand on this, just so that you get your practice if you want.
Okay,
will
here's
now go-
mine.
Let's see. Oh, 1 minute, Elaine. Let me just spotlight it. Hold on. Oh, very good.
I know, I
I
told
see
you
what
my
you've done.
star went off
You-
into some other dimension. God knows.
No, but it is still nice. It is still nice. It is an
Yeah.
8-point star. You've made an 8-point star.
I
A
don't
flower.
think I'll be
Just
able
call
to
it a
repeat
flower.
it. I know.
It has reached flower. Yeah, it has reached flower characteristics. But
Oh,
good.
God.
No, it's very nice. Doesn't it look nice to you?
Yes, I'm very happy with it. Of course, I smudged all my orange, but doesn't matter.
And I like that you have got your shapes so close to each other. It's very nice. Very
Thank
nice.
you. Thanks.
Lovely. Awesome. So now let's get on to a picture. I will, there's not much of a picture to share, which is why I didn't share it. But let me see if I can look at a cactus. I want something with shading. That's why I wanted to.
Just
Yeah.
spotlight your page, dear. Mine is, I don't know why.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll spotlight.
Right. Got it.
No, but where have I gone? I can't see my screen. Here I am.
Yeah, we can see you and your page now. Only I could see mine.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So I'm going to look up some cactus. So there are many pictures of cactus on the internet. You can just select what you like. Now, what I would like to do is I'd like to take a cactus which has lines in between so that we can do some shading. Okay. So let's draw with a pencil a pot. So we can make a pot this way. Very basic shape for mosaics. Don't do some fine artwork with the pencil. The pencil is not the hero in the show. So I'm making a very basic pot shape. Okay. From this pot will emerge a big shape like this. We could have another shape sticking out like this. Maybe even one that goes now, just to add some contrast, because all of this is going to be green, right? So let's add a flower on top, because I see some cacti have flower. So I'm going to just put a floral shape here, petals. Okay. And this cactus, I'm going to split it in three. So I'm going to draw these longitudinal lines. You see? This cactus also, I will, maybe this middle one, I'll just put one line. I don't want more than one line. But for this one, we can do a curve this way. Yeah. Very basic. Oh yeah, forgot the back of the pot. Pot needs a back. How's the drawing looking? Very basic, right? Easy?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, to make this look nice, now looking at our reference photos, we can pick the colors we want. So I'd like to have the pot brown. Okay, so we are going to do some shading of brown here. And if you look at all these pots, you notice that the middle of the pot is light, but the sides are slightly darker. So keep that in mind, because when we are putting our browns down here, we may want to darken our browns on this side. Okay, and the center brown, water it down a little bit more so that it becomes lighter brown. Okay, so keep these things in mind before you start. So we are going to use brown, and the brown is going to be darker on this side, and these shapes here in the middle are going to be lighter. Next, these cacti are going to be green, but let's take one green and yellow mix over here. Green and yellow. Let's do two colors, two shades. Green and yellow here. Let's do green and blue for the cactus behind. Okay, and we'll take just green and dark green. Green and dark green for this cactus. Now, why am I saying two different colors? Why? Because I want to show, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up putting some shapes all over here. I'm going to show some sort of shading. So if I'm starting with yellow and green, I will probably do something like yellow shapes and on the side green shapes. Then over here, yellow shapes, on the side little bit green. Yellow shapes, green. This is your choice if you have space for that many shapes. If you feel that you don't want to make so many shapes, you just want to make it rather large, then you can have a shading starting from here. Yellow, green, yellow and green mix, and full green here. Okay, let's try experimenting. And by the way, the flower on top is going to be pink. I would like to go with pink. So we have pink, green, and we have brown. Looks very cohesive. Okay, let's start with the yellow. And for yellow, I'm going to take, I'll take a yellow ochre. Okay, because I don't want it to be lemon yellow and all that. I'm going to take yellow ochre. Activate all these colors and keep a little bit on the side of your thing, palette. Okay, so I'm activating yellow ochre, and I'm also keeping some sap green. Activating sap green. Make my little puddle here. I think a little more sap. Okay. Let's start with my concept of having light yellow, green, and dark yellow. oh, sorry, right yellow, yellow and green mix, and dark green. Sorry, my mistake. So here, I'll start with a triangular shape. As they become thinner, I don't want to experiment with too many shapes. I'm just keeping this shape more or less convenient for me to paint. Okay, but if you feel you can make shapes, go ahead and make finer shapes. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of green into this and go in with shape here. So the yellow and green mix has actually given me a shade that's very, very gradually changing from yellow, right? And don't worry, I mean, I'm not doing anything that I have not explained before. It's just me going on and on. That's all. Huh? So don't, I will stop now once one cactus is done and wait for you all to tell me if you all are ready. So you don't really need to look up. You can just continue your work. You don't need to, there's nothing. If your paint pools, let it pool. The pooling of paint also is a lovely quality for a mosaic. By the way, now I'm only on sap green. Huh? Not bad, no? The shading, how's it looking for you all?
Very pretty, your cacti.
How's yours, Elaine?
Coming
Very
along,
good.
have a look. See?
Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah, here.
Oh, not bad, not bad. Quite good, in fact.
Patchy,
Quite
patchy,
good.
but you know the side of it is very thin. Is that okay? One of the squares, cubes, no? They
Huh?
end up to be very thin slivers. Is that okay?
Yeah,
or
yeah, that is
should one-
perfectly fine. That is
Okay.
perfectly fine. That is perfectly.
Because
That's what I'm
there
saying.
was,
No, there's no wrong and right.
yeah, I know, but
There
it
is
doesn't look
absolute
very mosaicy then. You know, you can't
no,
have
no.
such a
It does.
thin
It is a
piece.
one-off thing. It doesn't happen
Okay.
regularly, and it usually will happen for you only when you're at the end of the
Yes,
space
yes,
and you don't know what to do with that space, and then
quite
you
right.
create a shape that can't be defined. So it's
Quite
basically
right.
just one angular shape. You
Yep.
can't even call it anything. You can't. It
It's
has
like
no.
one little sliver of glass if I had,
Correct.
no, and you
Yeah.
just fit it in over there
The
somehow.
other option, Elaine, is that if you feel that that sliver doesn't look good, join it to another shape. It's
Done.
okay. Let that other
Okay.
shape be big. That is
Okay.
also possible. Okay,
Okay.
that's an option. If you feel it's looking really awkward as a sliver over there,
Yeah.
join it to another shape and let it be part of the bigger shape.
Check.
Okay, so this one at the back, I am going to start now with anybody else? Oh, Janita, let me see. Hold on. Place spotlight. Nice, very nice. So you've got a nice contrast over there. See the dark yellow and the light yellow. It's looking quite good. It's looking very, very mosaic. Good, good. Nita, how's yours?
Sagado to do later.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Oh, lovely. Very nice, Nita. You've got the blend very well. Looking very lovely. Super. Awesome. So we continue and now, sorry?
I think it looks brighter online.
Brighter online, you think?
I feel, yeah, the colors look brighter online.
Very true. Very true. That will happen. In fact, not only brighter. Now here on my screen here, what I'm looking at on the screen looks very purplish. Okay. Largely purple. But when I'm looking down at my paper, I can see the pink so well. I just can't see it on the screen. On the screen, it's looking very purple. So what the screen does it is makes adjustments. Close by shades, it will mix. It will mix. Just like that day, Elaine, you were saying, no, if you move the lines start to all get hazy. But the moment you straighten the line, it focuses. That same adjustment it makes even with colors. So what you're seeing on the screen of my star purple is nothing like it in front of me. In front of me, the pink is so vibrant. So this is how it is. Don't worry about
Wow,
it.
it actually adjusts colors.
It does, it does. It does.
My
Very
goodness.
much. Very much.
Oh,
All right, so we'll proceed now and let's take another green, sorry, another green. We'll take probably, what is this now? I forget that. Emerald, no, Viridian. One.
Viridian.
Viridian
I
green.
think. Viridian, no, the
Emerald
dark
is
one
the
is
first.
Viridian, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. So Viridian green.
I have a
Let's take,
question. It's
yes,
regarding the circular ones which you were talking about. I want to do that
yeah.
for the Sagado, which I have drawn. So in that, the circle size will remain the same, or descend from small to big.
No, no, you
You
will change the circle sizes as you would change the pieces ka shape over here. You would
okay?
make them large circle, small circle, whatever fits. And then what happens eventually, you will have spaces where you see too much white. Then you will
Okay,
start putting almost dots in those places. That's how it will be.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I've not really tried a composition in circles, but let me just try it over
Mm.
here so that I can
It's
tell you
looking
that it
very
is.
good with
No,
the Sagado. It's like a tall green, and then the dots
okay.
are actual dots which will come on it where the spikes come. So
I
it's a
see, I
very
see.
good
Okay, okay.
composition.
Okay. I've not tried anything with circles, but okay, I'll
You
draw
got a
half.
reference, Janita?
Yeah, let me post it on the group.
Please. Yeah.
I've never
So
used
you're starting
circles.
from the middle.
Yeah, that's always the case, Elaine.
Okay.
Start from a spot that does not boggle your mind. Yeah,
right,
don't
right.
don't start with a place where, like, for the edge very often, especially if you're using circle now, I
Right.
would definitely not start my edge with a circle.
Okay,
But
okay.
with a square, I may actually like to start at an edge. Now, if I
Right.
was doing a square, I would have actually liked to start
Yeah.
somewhere here where I put a square
Square.
like this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know. So it all depends on your reference and what type of shapes you would like to use. I'm just going to see how this works. Huh? Just to. I'm not sure how it works because I've not done circles. I've only seen it once, and that too, it's not very popular. I find that the circle mosaics are
The
not popular.
circles don't look very mosaic-y, actually, to
Mosaic,
tell you the truth.
correct.
Because the gaps, then, you know, it's very hard to do very tiny gaps in between.
Yes. No, if you
Looks
fill up
like
an
one of
entire.
the Australian Aborigine art.
Japanese artist, no? What's her name? The polka dot Japanese
Yeah,
artist.
yeah.
Yes, Kasuma,
that-
Kasuma,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I forget her name. Yeah. I'm sure at the end, in some sense, it may look nice, maybe on a bigger screen and things like that. Sorry, on a bigger space or something like that. But you're right. We always associate mosaics being pieces, geometric pieces.
Because
So it may work.
that's the whole point of it, no? There were broken pieces of tile which you put
Correct.
together.
Correct. But again, I won't say this is not possible. It can
No,
be
of
done.
course it's possible.
Yeah, it can be done.
Just doesn't look
You
very
should
missing.
try. Yeah, you should try and see whether it works. Or let me just see what Jennifer has sent. Hold on.
Yeah, look at the massive cacti. It's got a little bird nesting inside.
I've shown the close up and then
Yeah,
the
these
full
are
image.
these massive ones.
Yeah, these
agave
are in
kind. What are
Arizona
they called?
sagados, and they are like native to Arizona.
Yeah,
Okay.
Arizona, no?
Yes.
Yeah. The
beautiful
shapes are just,
shapes.
yeah.
So when we look at this, Susan, if I was
Hmm.
doing a mosaic of this, so one side I would make very dark and one side very
Yeah.
light, and in the middle
Yeah.
would be a normal color.
Yeah.
So
So
you could
in this
get,
case, if I was taking green, I would
yes,
mix green and yellow, or maybe
yes,
green and yellow
absolutely
for
on
the
one side.
extreme
Yes,
left.
yes.
And then for the middle will be my normal green. And for the right, I would probably mix green and dark, something like a black or
Yes,
green and
umber,
burnt umber.
yeah.
Umber or something.
So what I'm saying, Susan, is the cacti we are making, we've
Hmm.
got a very similar shading already in this first bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Which you've done. Now
Right.
in the back one, we could use different colors, but I think we should stick to the light source coming from the left, which will be more.
Yes, that's it. So it is just like painting. When you were had you to paint this cactus normally, you would have given it the same kind of treatment.
Right.
Where whatever shade you took for this,
Yes.
you would lighten it on one side, darken it on that side.
Exactly.
So you maintain that with the cactus behind, even if you take a different shade of green. You will do
Quite
the light
right.
on the left, dark on the right. So
Quite
that
right.
if you're maintaining, and in fact, we should probably even do that on the pot, because
Yes.
that means that the left side of the
The
pot is
left
going to
side
be
is what is
lighter
getting lit up.
and is
Exactly.
correct. So then it becomes very, very accurate in our mind
Yes.
that the light is falling on from one side,
And
and
maybe
we have
it'll look pretty like your apples and pears are all lit up from one side.
yes.
Makes all the difference, no?
Yeah. So yes, we can do that. I'm going to go in with this green that I pulled out, which is Viridian, and start Viridian off here. I will use Viridian and burnt umber for the second side. Watercolor has a lovely stained glass sort of an effect.
Should get together for a mosaic painting afternoon.
Yes.
Just sit and do this all.
Just sit and do this. Yes, yes, absolutely.
There was a quotation I did in lettering for my grandniece.
Okay.
We should all stay up late and paint.
What a fine idea.
Yes.
I do that anyway. So it's
Yeah.
just a question of joining online somewhere
Yes.
and meeting a gang. I once did an Insta live at 11 o'clock,
So
thinking,
lovely.
let me see who is awake at that time. Like me, sitting up in the night, waiting for the kids to get to bed so that I can have some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
And only the American folk were there. All the rest, Alka joined for some time and then she was like, I really need to go to sleep now. Any shade you take, no, it's just when you darken it, it is so pretty in a mosaic.
So pretty.
Yeah.
When you put a little water and it becomes transparent, and
Ah,
even when it's dark, it still has the see-through quality, which is so
correct,
gorgeous.
correct.
Just so beautiful.
And for small spaces like this, eventually you end up with a triangle,
Yes, always.
the last part.
The last
Usually
bit.
end with a triangle. What shall I do for the next one? Shall we take another green? What is the other one now? Emerald green. It's not very different from this thing, but we'll do it.
If you
We'll
put a
work with
little blue in it, it will make a lovely.
it. Yes. So I was thinking I'll start with emerald green on one side, then emerald green and blue, and then almost.
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. So let me just try. Most of mosaic that I have ended up doing, even though I planned the colors, it does not end up the way I expected it. That is one thing I have learned to accept.
Yes.
Sometimes in my head, oh wow, those two colors will look so fantastic, and then I make it and I'm like, oh okay, all right, not so great. In my head, it was like some magnificent idea.
I have a whole lot of art ideas in my head which never get translated to paper because I'm incapable of doing it.
No.
That's why I watch, I learn from Aditi because sometimes now I can put down what I'm thinking because I know a little better technique,
Yes. No, it'll come, Elena. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you have to do to figure it. You can see and watch, you can definitely.
Yeah.
There is a
No, but
lot
you
to
have
gain
to,
from
yes.
watching, but it is from doing that things
Yes,
actually
absolutely.
sit in the brain right.
Yes.
So there are many things that, especially now, I've realized in calligraphy more than art for me.
Yeah.
That when Aditi sometimes tells me, oh, this shape could be more, you maybe just try to make it a little more, what do you call it, the entry stroke, a little less bent, a little more sharp, a little more this, a little more that. I don't see it. I can't see it. Then I look at her work and I look at my work and I can't see the difference. And then she will go and enlarge it, and then she will say, okay, look at this one stroke, look at the way the brush, the nib moves. And sometimes it doesn't strike me then. I'll just imitate what she's telling me to do and hope that I've got it. But in practicing, or maybe a second class or a third class, suddenly she'll say the same thing to me. Same thing. But it just snaps. I'm like, oh, that is what you meant. How did I not see it the last 2 times that you were telling me the same thing? So I feel like it is only by doing.
Yeah.
You don't stop. You do it. Doing it. And then that aha moment will come. but very few aha moments will come from just watching.
No, not just watching. I'm learning from her classes. I'm actually joined her classes because of that. Because I used to
Yeah.
paint. I mean, I can paint anything you give me. I will paint.
Yeah,
it.
you do a lot of
You know,
acrylics, no?
I used to. Now I don't anymore. That's how I
Okay.
started with oils in college. We didn't have acrylics then, no?
Right,
I
right,
used to
right.
do a lot of oils from college, and I could do almost anything you gave me to paint because I can copy very accurately. But that's
Mhm.
not the point.
Mhm.
Now I need to, even especially with watercolors, just create whatever it is that you want in your head and as close
Yes,
as
yes.
possible of what you have in your head. So that
Correct,
is
correct.
the reason.
I know we are at almost 1 o'clock,
Is it?
but yeah, can you believe? That's the
Oh,
thing with mosaics, on time just
it just flies.
it does. And like I said, too many times has it happened that I have gotten up only when the bell rang. So this is bound to happen.
What
But what I'm
happened,
thinking,
Susan, after that? How did you make up? I would be so jet lagged, kind of hungover, whatever
yeah,
you
so
have.
I initially the enthusiasm would keep me going.
Huh.
I would somehow bounce back because you have to, you have no choice. There
Yeah,
are people waiting on
yes,
you.
yes,
But and then crash somewhere midday or something,
yeah,
like
yeah.
usually after 1 or 2 days, not immediately. I
Hmm.
could go. But
Wow.
now as I'm getting older, I'm finding it very, very hard to,
Yes, yeah.
very hard.
Now
I
with that
find it,
accumulation
now
of not enough sleep is not good, now we can't
not good.
handle.
Exactly. You can't do it. So I tell my husband the same thing. I said, if I do this for one day, I
Hmm.
can probably somehow catch up. But if I do it for more than one day,
Yep,
I will fall sick.
yes. Fall sick
That's the
and
only
get
way
horribly snappy.
I've
Yep,
done
yep.
this.
Let me see.
Let's
Hold
see,
on,
I
hold on.
can't see. Hang on, hang on.
I'm spotlighting. I'm
Yeah,
spotlighting.
okay, okay. Lovely.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
How big is this? Janita, just hold it back a little so I can see how big on the page it is. Okay, okay.
Ah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Now, Janita, when you are doing the pot, try and see how light you can go with the brown, okay? Just to give the contrast a little more thing. Now, what's happening with our greens, and I'm noticing mine also, is that the first one was very good contrast, very good. So the light to dark was looking really nice, but now it's starting to kind of merge. My second green and blue is not looking so great. So keep that contrast going so that the shading eventually, otherwise it'll all look brown and little less brown. That's all. So let's try and see if we can get more contrast with the brown because the whole pot full of it. So I am not going to hold up anybody who wants to leave because I know it's already one. But you get the idea,
Yeah.
where we are going with this.
Have a look, Susan, at mine. I think I should reposition my pot.
Hold on. Let me just replace. Reposition your pot. Yes, you can. Yes, you may.
It's kind of growing
Yes,
all
yes.
on one edge.
On one
Is
edge,
the
right,
shading
right.
okay?
The shading is very good. Very
Yeah,
lovely.
I'm glad.
Very
Good,
lovely.
good.
Yeah. I will stop doing this cactus now and just finish off two different parts. If you are in a hurry to leave, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you because we'll finish this over the week as you get time.
What are you doing, Susan, you said?
If you can share, I'm doing this flower. I wanted to,
Okay, yes.
so you have an idea how it looks.
Yeah.
Of course, I will myself finish this during the week at some point.
Okay.
But and if you could, all of you could also share, during the
Yeah.
week, it'd be nice because then
Could
you'd
you
finish your.
spotlight? Could you
Yes,
spotlight
yes.
yourself?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
please. What colors have you used? So just
Pink,
crimson?
pink. Just crimson. I'm not using any other color,
Yeah.
just lightening my crimson with water. So so that it looks pinkish when it
Yeah.
dries.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I go back in with crimson and more pigment so that I get a nice, like a dark crimson at some places. And see over here, I want little dark. Finally, I'm going to go with, pot is going to be burnt umber. But to lighten my burnt umber on one side, I'm going to introduce a little bit of yellow ochre. Okay, this is just to give the left side a little lightness. Of course, I can lighten just the burnt umber with water and that should do the trick, but one step further. Now here, I'm not going to make my shapes very small because it's going to take forever to finish.
Yeah.
So I will purposely keep my shapes a bit large. Okay, one more thing I want to do is to demarcate the top and the bottom. Only a little bit, just to demarcate. I will drop in a little bit of burnt umber at the edges over here. So that I can demarcate top and bottom. Okay, I'm leaving the rest of it to blend as it is. It's very hard to finish a mosaic in one class. I never can do it because it just takes so long. So Elaine, if you look at my shapes now for the first time, I have given it no thought. I have simply aligned it to the left side line and given it any shape I want. Now, what this is going to lead to, I have no idea. But it will
as long as you know you're getting it more watery on this side and dark on the other.
That's it. That's it.
And the inside of the pot, what should one do, Susan?
So that is where I take black and burnt umber and do just the ends of the pot. I'm going to do that. So
I would like to know how to do that because I don't. I mean, I'm quite clueless.
It's a small space. It's a small space, very small space. Again, I'm tending to small shapes. Naturally tending to small shapes. I think I dropped in too much paint here, so I'm just picking it up a bit. So you know what I'm thinking? I'm not even going to make it brown and black, just black. I'm just going in with black.
Okay.
And shading up this portion. Now, because we have had mosaics all over, this small portion, it is your choice if you want to make like 2 pieces here and 3 pieces here. It may also look nice. I've often found, like I said before, a solid color will also look nice. So if I painted the entire inside this way and left it that way, it would be quite okay.
Yeah.
it would give a good balance to the
Mm.
pieces that we have put all over, everywhere.
Mm.
So this is also a good option. Not saying that you shouldn't try the other. If you feel like putting a full mosaic in there, no problem. 3 pieces, 2 pieces, whatever. But this is also acceptable. It will look just quite nice, actually. Again, my shapes are becoming small. Okay, this has happened to me more than once, and I want to show you what I'll end up doing. I'll make a shape that is not a shape, really. See, this corner here, okay?
Yes.
I don't know what to do, because now if I make a triangle here and a rectangle here, they become really small and
Yeah.
it kind of disproportionate in the scheme of things. So what I'm going to
Yeah.
do is I'm going to make a shape that is just for that.
Okay.
And that's fine. The one-off shape like this does not really change much about the picture. When we look at the mosaic, we are not really looking at an individual shape as much as we are looking at the overall. Now see, over here, I've crossed over by mistake. I can blend it and make it a single piece, but it becomes too large. What I will do, on the other hand, is simply let it dry and put a small white line to separate.
Oh.
That's it. It happens, not more
I
often
like,
than you think.
Susan, you've
Yeah.
left your pot half unpainted, right, at the moment? And
My pot?
I mean, you're
Yeah.
going to finish it, right?
Yes.
But I just love that look of absolutely brilliant white sunlight on this side of the pot.
Yeah.
It's just so cool, you know?
Yeah, it is, no?
And if a little more of the cactus had been white, it would be just so brilliantly lit up.
Yes, yes. So
Because
one
you've
thing
done the
I
black.
yeah, because I've done the black. Yeah. So one more thing I like is, now this cactus could have been set in a frame where the background is given a blue or some shade, some light
Yeah.
shade. Okay.
Yeah.
You will notice, and you should do this experiment yourself to see the difference. Let's say make a cactus without a background and make a cactus with a solid or mosaic light color, blue color, something. The moment you put a color in the background, the starkness of this mosaic subsides.
Okay.
Okay. And that is the same difference that you will see over here. Had I not put this blue in this S would have stood out so much better.
Yes.
It would have been really nice. Whereas
Yeah.
this stands out because the white makes the paper white in the background. It just makes it amazing. So sometimes paper white is a good thing. It's not always bad. We tend to think, oh, let's just add color in all the space that we have. No, not necessary. Now, as I go to the right side, I'm going to put in a little bit of, my umber is actually already at its almost max capacity. I'm going to now make it like high pigment umber, burnt umber. And then very soon I will notice that I can't go darker than that with umber.
Hmm.
So you will have to introduce a little bit of black into your umber. I'm talking about the last part here, when you're closest to the. It's for contrast, nothing else. Oops, mistake. Getting too hasty.
That's what happens when you're trying to finish something, na?
Yes,
In that
always.
much amount of time, and
Yes, always, always.
at the end of it, you always.
You always,
Even
yes.
me, I've got these horrid big pieces in the top of the pot, which is so sad.
But Elaine, if you ever feel like you have merged and made it too dark or something like that, I'm too big or something like that,
Yeah.
the white
Yeah.
pen is helpful.
Yes.
Huh? You can break a
Yes.
piece up.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you can break a piece up. You don't have to live with that,
Yeah.
something
Very
that's
sad.
bothering you.
Really bothering.
Don't have to. So now I'm going to mix in a little bit of black into my burnt umber, make it darker, and put in my last shades. There you go. So my pot is done. Now I just have to finish this part, which I will do later. I won't hold everyone up for that, but you get the drift.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So experiment, go out there, figure out what you'd like to try, and give it a go.
Yes. Here I am with my pot.
All right, let's see. Oh, very nice, Elaine. Very nice.
I like the shading, the yellow and the
Even the
black.
yellow, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, at least it's got a little bit of light on the pot. So
Yeah, no, it's not just that. It is true to a mosaic. A mosaic doesn't always have to have the same shades of brown, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
what you get, right? So
yeah.
it has a very lovely appeal to it. Very nice.
Thank you.
I
Thank
like
you.
it. Janita, hold on.
One sec, I
Janita,
also want to see. I can't see.
very nice, Janita. Super.
Nice.
Super. Very good. Nita, anything you, there, I'll just
Spotlight it.
Yeah. Oh, very lovely.
Pink fly so rakish.
Yeah. But
Just like on the side.
yeah. No, but it's very lovely. It's very nice.
It is very
You know,
cute.
do you notice that our quirky shapes
Yeah.
or quirky anything does
Yeah.
not ruin the picture?
Yeah.
The mosaic
Yeah.
actually fixes it.
Yes.
The mosaic
That-
fixes it. So whatever quirky outline we drew, even if it was a little disproportionate, putting that color in the way of a mosaic straight away makes it very appealing. Very
It's a
appealing.
very lovely class. Yeah. Very
No?
nice mosaic class. I've not done mosaics before.
Little like therapy, no? Art
Huh?
therapy.
Very-
It's very
Yeah.
therapeutic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sitting and
It is
just
very
doing.
therapeutic. It is very therapeutic. So consider doing this from time to time. Again, for me, mosaics and florals. Florals, of course, I do more often than mosaics because mosaic takes time. But both are good ways to reset your mind. When you are out of a subject to paint or draw, or you think that you're in a, like, what do I do now? I don't know what to do, what to proceed with. Sometimes it happens to me when I have many things to do. So, for example, I have to finish this also and that also, and this page also, travel illustration also, and a birthday card, and everything is there, and I don't know what to start. I'm usually stuck. So what I do there is I break off and I do either florals or mosaics. Break off. Because in a mosaic, it doesn't matter. I just draw a star, fill up a moon, do what you want, right? And then break off, get some clarity, and start off with whatever is left after that. Yeah.
There's something I did with a brush pen.
Let me see. Replace. Oh, very lovely.
Like
How
you
sweet.
had said, no, just all, but I still
Strokes.
have to get the balance of the bunch, that will only come, I don't know how. But
Yeah.
it's like you've
No.
done with your brush,
Brushes.
just
Yes.
the stems and then
Correct. So brush pen, no, as nice as it is in terms of using for lettering and all that, brush pens do not bend enough like our
no,
normal
mine are
water.
those wishy-washy brush pen. They bend
Yeah.
all over the place. I can't do
No,
any
but they
lettering.
don't bend the way you want. Like
Yeah.
when with a, you know how it
Yeah.
is with the watercolor
Yeah,
brush,
with
you press and you
watercolor.
get a lovely curve.
Yeah.
They don't give you these curves. They give you these angular movements, which are
Absolutely.
so
But do you know, Susan, I could actually bend that tip of that and do one little tiny only. You can't do big, but tiny.
Yeah.
At least I could bend it and pick it up, which my brush is not lending to.
Oh, is it okay?
So I said, just let me do one little bunch and then we'll
Yeah.
carry on to the water.
Very good. No, you should. Play around. The one thing with tools is you will never get comfortable till you get comfortable.
Yeah.
That is how it is, and nobody can make you comfortable with a tool, because tool is like, it's your personal, it's how you do. It's like writing, right? I mean, how do you use your hand, manipulate your hand to write? I cannot tell you beyond a point. You have to figure it out, right?
Right.
So that way. So don't worry, it's good. It's all good. And if you do attempt any mosaics, please share on the group.
Yes.
Yeah. I will share the recording as soon as I'm able to put it up. Yeah.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
So next
Thank you,
week,
Susan.
any
Yeah.
request for next week? You had said something, no, Elaine? What did you say?
I was just saying decorating envelopes, but
Envelopes,
if anybody else has something, that's also okay.
Any
That
other
sounds
suggestions?
fun.
It sounds
Envelope?
fun. You can do
Yeah,
such
yeah.
lovely little things on envelope, brown paper
Yeah.
envelopes and
Yeah.
other
Some
white
florals on it or
ones.
something different.
Let's do envelopes then. Let's do
Because
envelopes. If you're doing,
I've seen you
Do we need to
sending
get
envelopes with lots of designs. So I thought that you would be able to.
yeah. So for
Yeah.
envelopes, we will need to use drawing paper. So if you have that cartridge paper, that
Stock,
I think
card stock.
not cardstock.
No.
Envelopes are not cardstock. Cardstock is about 240 GSM. It's too thick
Chart
for
paper.
folding.
Chart paper.
Not chart paper. Paper.
what's
Go
a
to the shop
GSM?
and ask for cartridge paper.
How thick is that? Like a.
Cartridge is about 110 to 130 GSM.
Can I just take one of these
Yeah.
pages?
Yeah, these pages will work. These
Yeah.
pages will work. Okay.
Because this is 160 or 140 or something. I'll just do it
Yes.
page.
This will work perfectly well. Cartridge paper is the same type. You
Yeah.
need it for it to be bendy enough to fold
Yes.
into an envelope. Otherwise,
Yes.
cardstock will not fold so many
No,
times,
it
and we have
won't.
multiple folds. Yeah.
Right.
So
And
just
what
a few
about if
sheets of that.
you have ready-made envelopes? We can decorate that, or is that
Yeah,
too thin?
of course. That's what
I
I'm saying.
thought
So
I'll
bring
get
whatever
brown
you
paper.
have. Bring whatever you have, and we can do different things on different paper.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you have a
A
jelly
brown
roll
paper
pen,
bag. That
yeah.
also is
So
nice.
if you're on brown paper, white jelly pens, those jelly rolls, they look awesome. Huh? They're like almost gingerbread designs you can make on them. They're so pretty. So pretty.
Oh.
So like cookies, So keep all these other media with you also, not just
Cheap.
watercolor.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
So next week,
Super.
envelopes then.
Yes.
All
Thank you.
right.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.